Hey, this video is in response to Nakmeezy. I watched a live video where you are blaming Africans for not coming to rescue African American while they were being enslaved, or maybe in the modern day, while they are being killed in the street. Let me tell you something. We in Africa, we were being colonized and we still are. Our mind, it's being colonized. I mean, the average African doesn't think for himself. He doesn't focus on himself. He focuses on everything that's outside of him because of everything that was put in place to make him think and act that way. The first thing I'm going to tell you about is our education system. Our education system is the same as when we were being colonized. It's the exact same education system that's been in place in Africa today. The average African was taught to look at colonization as something beneficial to Africa. Like in class, we have to list on our history test the advantages of colonization. The average African believed that colonization is what brought railroads, industry, clothes to Africa. So therefore, colonization is the best thing that ever happened to Africa. We are taught that without colonization, we will still be living under the trees and jumping from branches to branches and just hanging there. Without colonization, we would have never had lights, houses, cars, TV. So we don't think the way you guys think. It took me to get out of Africa to realize that I wasn't taught anything while I was in Africa. You guys know more about Africa than we do, because we are not taught African history in school. We are not taught African history. We are not taught African American history, which is not fair because both sides are our history. It's so important to know both sides of the history. That's the only way that you can feel complete. And then you can speak and really know what you're talking about. I've been in a lot of Pan-Africanist forums and listening to lives. And what I have found out is that depending on which side of the African you are, which is African in the continent and African in the diaspora. So each side knows, no, I'm not going to say it like that. So African American know more about their history than the average African knows about his history. And usually when they're having an argument, The African know nothing about African American history. And then he barely knows about his own history, and he only knows what we were taught in school, which is okay. Slave trade happened. White people came to Africa and stole our ancestors, stole my great grandmother and daddies and sister brothers, and took them to Africa for slavery. I mean, to America for slavery. But they don't get into detail. So we know nothing about how exactly it was done, the specifics of it. So we don't know. We are so detached to that. We are so detached from slavery that we know nothing about slavery. I did not know anything about Jim Crow. I know none of that. I learned those things when I came to America, and I willingly learned it, because when I got to America, what I was told by my brothers and sisters was stay away from my African Americans if you want to be successful. But I happened to go to school with some great friends that were African Americans. And some of my friends started calling me out on my behavior. They used to say, oh, you are what did they say? You Africans are white worshiper or something like that. I don't know what she used to say. Oh yeah, she used to say, you know nothing about racism. And I used to be offended until I really learned and realized that I knew nothing about racism, for real. So what I did, I went back and I learned. Like, I learned on my own. Now I understand exactly what the deal is. In Africa, for an average African, it's like racism is like, okay, you meet someone that doesn't have the same skin color with you, and the person say, oh, I don't like black people. No, that's not racism. That's not racism. Is way more serious than that. So Africans don't know nothing about slavery. We don't know nothing about real institutional racism. We don't, because in Africa, when we see the European, there are symbols of greatness, of anything, of everything that is great. So Africans aspire to be like European. So brother, when you discuss with us, keep that in mind. We don't know much about, I mean, not me, I have learned so much, but discussing with an African on the continent, he knows nothing about African American history. Okay, so thank you. I just wanted to come here and say that I'm gonna make another video about somebody else, because I watch a lot of YouTube video about African American repatriating to Africa. And I would say this, please, African American, before you move to Africa, take a second to learn about African history. Don't be like me. I moved to America knowing nothing about African American history, and it was a slap in my face, you know, because when I left home, I was so happy to meet black people like me. We were gonna be body, we were gonna be brothers and sisters, but it wasn't the case. I mean, like, it was rough. The reality was rough. So please take a second, if you go in the country, take a second, learn a little bit about their history and to understand the culture there and the dynamic. If not, you're going to be very disappointed, because the thing that going on here, they know nothing about it. So please share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.